Hello everyone, my name is Angel Kanda and I will be discussing one of the occupational and environmental health tragedy in Wittenoom, Australia. I will be discussing Introduction to Wittenoom, Asbestos Industry, Health Outcome, Occurrence of Mesothelioma, and Present Status of Wittenoom. The purpose of this discussion is to provide context for the asbestos mining tragedy and to discuss the health effects of asbestos exposure on the Wittenoom population. In 1943, 1400 kilometers northeast to Perth in Pilbara region of Western Australia was a town called Wittenoom. A town that had thousands of residents now become one of the most dangerous places on earth. This is a story about a town. A story about how something we once thought was completely safe to becoming one of the most dangerous things on this planet. Asbestos. The township of Wittenoom was principally a company town, a monument of prosperity. But today, it is just a ghost town. The areas around Wittenoom are surrounded with gorges. There is a gorge called Empire Gorge, where blue asbestos started to mining. In early 1940s, blue asbestos was found in Wittenoom Gorge. Mining in Empire Gorge stopped and moved to Wittenoom. A mining company called Australian Blue Asbestos was founded by Lang Hancock, which operated mines at the Wittenoom Gorge. Initially, the town was used to house the miners, but then it eventually grew into a bustling town. The government provided houses that consisted of one sheet of asbestos cement on the inside, which was used as insulators. Tailings from the mine, rich in asbestos fibers, were used to pave roads and footpaths. Therefore, the vehicle movement over the roads raised a great deal of dust. These are the timelines of the events that happened in Wittenoom. In 1936, Lang Hancock discovers the deposits of blue asbestos. In 1940, Hancock begins mining at Wittenoom. In 1943, Empire Mine opens, producing 300 tons of asbestos fibers. In 1944, Mines Inspector Adams reports on the dust at Wittenoom and discusses the needs to reduce the dust levels. It was the first warning of asbestos dust at Wittenoom which was generated and was ignored, and the mining was carried out as usual. In 1946, Wittenoom mine opens and about 20,000 tons of asbestos fibers was discovered. In 1953, start of the colonial mine generating 100,000 tons of asbestos fibers. These mines not only just generated the fibers but also generated a lot of asbestos waste. Wittenoom mill generated 600,000 tons of asbestos waste, whereas on the other side, Colonial Mine generated 2.6 million tons of asbestos waste. The mining took place in the isolated Wittenoom area. The extraction of the fibrous blue asbestos from the parent siliceous rock was performed in a mill. This was a dusty process that depended on drying and crushing the ore, agitating it on a conveyor belt, and bringing the lighter fibers to the surface, passing it under a device, and were then manually compressed into Hessian bags for the transportation. Despite the use of Hessian bags for moving asbestos having been banned many years earlier. The production process in the mill was laborious, and the tropical working conditions were hot and dusty. Hessian bags full of asbestos fibers are then transported to store in a shed which was approximately 300 kilometers away. There were roughly 20,000 residents in Wittenoom, out of which 6,500 were the miners. Between 1958 to 1962, more than 2,000 workers were recruited at Wittenoom. Between 1943 to 1966, more than 100 deaths were reported due to asbestos related diseases. And at the end of 2020, more than 2,000 miners were died due to asbestos related diseases at Wittenoom. So, how asbestos actually caused death in these workers? Asbestos comes in six types, but the blue asbestos by far is the most deadliest form of asbestos due to the length of its filaments that can pierce the lung tissues. When one inhales or ingests these fibers, our body cannot break them down and cannot be maintained by a body defense mechanism. With more and more ingestion, lung function diminishes and people become more short of breath. This is a long, normal, and healthy lung. This is the asbestos lung. All the white stuff around the lung is tumor and crushing the lung to less than a quarter size, leading to suffocation and ultimately death. After 1966, the government closed all the schools and airports officially. In early 2000s, government started demolishing the buildings. In 2006, the government shut off the power of the town. In 2007, the Wittenoom was officially removed from the map and road signs. Tourists are discouraged from visiting the areas. In 2008, a Wittenoom asbestos contaminated area of almost 470 square kilometers were declared and listed by the Western Australian Health Department as not suitable for any human occupation or land use. In March 2022, a Wittenoom Closure Bill was passed, enabling the government to acquire and demolish any remaining privately owned properties, as well as remove all the infrastructure from the town. The bill aims to put an end to the town's dark history and reduce the attraction for visitors who ignore the significant health warning of asbestos exposure. Summary: due to its massive asbestos mining activities, Wittenoom, a once thriving mining town in Western Australia, became known for disaster. The town was a prominent center for mining of blue asbestos, which was highly valued for its ability to withstand heat. Until 1966, workers in the mine and town residents faced persistent exposure to airborne asbestos particles. As people began to suffer from deadly illnesses like asbestosis, mesothelioma, and lung cancer, the true nature of asbestos became apparent. In 1966, Wittenoom was shut down by the government and the locals were told to move. The legacy of Wittenoom serves as a stark reminder of the devastating human cost of unregulated asbestos mining and insufficient workplace safety measures. Wittenoom's story, etched in asbestos dust, a haunting reminder of lives lost and lessons learned. Thank you everyone for watching.